Hello everyone, welcome back again to the Education Diary day number 2 of the object detection by using YOLO. Hello, my name is Gurpreet and I am IT instructor at the Education Diary since last 3 months. I'm living in South Korea doing up my research and study in AI technology as well as in robotics. So yesterday actually we have discussed about something which was related with the object detection, and we used RoboFlow in order to use our model. We used a model, we checked the model how we can go, and we basically implemented the object detection by using YOLO version 8. Right. Today we are going to be moving forward with the OCR, which is known as object character recognition. Now, of course, as simple OD sounds like, or OCR sounds like, it is simple in some manners in some libraries, but we are going to be implementing two models today so that we can understand that which model is having more efficiency or through which model we should proceed forward. All right, so let's start. So as usual, I'm having up my Google Colab open here. So yesterday's work is already here, but I'm not going to be using this kind of thing again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be simply proceeding forward from here only because it's going to be easy. Or if we want, we can proceed within the same command line, because as usual, we have to work here. So I'm going to be changing the file name today to the object character recognition, which actually means the OCR model. All right, now what is OCR? So object detection is something you are trying to detect object based on your model training, but OCR is something in which you are going to recognize the characters inside that image. All right, so that is something which we are going to do. For an example, if I'm going to show you, so here you can see that this is something, the street signs, right? So basically we can implement any kind of signs here in the image. That can be anything. So here you can see we are having this school bus stop ahead. Now this is something, the characters, right? So these are actually the characters inside the image, and when we train the model to recognize what is the character inside the image, it is known as the OCR. Now of course it is going to be having tons and tons of benefits and implementations. What I want you to tell is that suppose if an image is blurry, right? Suppose if you take a number plate of a car, and in a car there's a criminal. So yesterday we have discussed on this topic that suppose there is a car and the number plate of that car is, like, suppose shaky, that the car is in a speed, the CCTV is unable to capture the very clear photo of the number plate. So we can use multiple algorithms to make that blurry image into kind of like a better image, so that the characters of that number plate can be recognized. All right, so yep, we can basically do pre-processing. We can apply some Gaussian filters, or we can apply some different kind of filters. We can actually enhance the image quality, and then we can implement these kind of OCR models to detect what kind of characters are written on that number plate. All right, because that is something which is basically being used in nowadays in the IT field. Now there are tons and tons of different cases. All right, so you are working in a factory, or you are working in different form of place. Suppose if there is a factory and there is a kind of like bundle, iron bundle. Now every iron bundle is having stickers, right? And the stickers are not having a very clear photo. That means the camera is unable to capture the sticker information. But as usual, you have to develop a program in which you can actually detect the sticker information, and then it can be saved into a CSV file. That means there is no human effort in this. That means not a person is going to that watch the bundle every second, that this is actually the number of the iron bundle. Instead, we can just implement a CCTV camera, and it is going to capture the iron bundle. In within 5 seconds, it is going to extract the information from those stickers, and it is going to save in a CSV file. After 5 seconds, another bundle is passing through that that machine. Then again it recognizes and saves the data into a CSV file. So yeah, based on the dependency, based on some that what actually you want to implement, you can go with these kind of technologies in which we are talking about. So we are having tons and tons of different things today we are going to be working. So we will taking this image. If you want, we can take any other image which we want. We are going to use two models today. One is going to be again RoboFlow OCR. Once I'm going to be using the easy OCR, which is pre-default library, and at the very last we are going to be checking that which model is having more efficiency and why. So as usual, yesterday we have done about RoboFlow, so today we are going to be with the RoboFlow only. What I'm going to search here is the OCR, right? And once basically I search OCR, you can see that we are having 137 images, 104 images, and 240 images, and more, right? Today I'm not going to take a model which is going to be having, that thousands of image, because it's going to take a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very small size of model. The process is going to be same, the implementation is going to be the same, but what I want is that we have to do fast, right? It shouldn't be like more than 1 hour, like more than half an hour. So I'm going to be selecting a model, any model I can select here. So it's written like handwriting detection, OCR detection, 325 images. So we can take this one because this is underline detection. So what we can do is, now its precision is 28%. So this is not going to be working very great. So I can basically write for full object character recognition. So has the model. So here you can see it is basically detecting objects. It's not detecting characters. That is something which is really important to understand. So sometimes you have to write OCR only because that is something which was being searched. So you have to change your parameters in order to search, right? So text, basically this one only with a 59 image, character recognition. So which one we can take? So we can try to take a good one, like having more accuracy. Now this is basically an underline, right? It's having a precision of 95%. So let's take something underlined, right? We just want a character which is being underlined in an image, or else we can go with this. It is having low precision score. It's basically handwriting, low precision text objects, 91%. So that is also something fine, but this is basically for the text objects. This one having precision of 77%. So if we go here, it is having 99%. So we can take this image, text detect, right, having 400 images. So I can basically go into the view full project, and we are going to the model, right? In the model we are going to be having download this data set. We are going to be selecting YOLO version 8, show download code. It is basically going to give us our API key. Within that time, let's connect to the T4. Now it is already connected to the T4 if I'm not wrong, but you can actually change your GPU right from here. So again, we are going to implementing the same commands what we did yesterday. And in the meantime, I'm going to be uploading an image. So let's run the execute the command similar of the yesterday, because we have already done those things. So import OS. Now we are going to installing the Ultralytics YOLO version 8. So let's wait. Can we get code to detect a object in an image like dog or cat present? Yeah, of course, that is something which can be done. Can we implement? So as usual, I told you, you can go into the RoboFlow and you can search based on your requirement, like cat detection or dog detection or animal detection, right? Not only cat and dog, but also the animal detection can be take place if you go to the RoboFlow and you can search based on your requirement. Once again, as I said, that RoboFlow is a very good and a very huge library, more than like I believe so 500,000 projects, right? Or more than 1 million projects are there. So yeah, so you can actually go there and you can check out there. All right, so once again, it's going to be downloading our YOLO version 8. So as I told you that today we are going to be using RoboFlow as well as a pre-default library which is going to be Easy OCR. So Easy OCR is something which is pre-default model. You don't need to train a model, it is already trained model, right? And for that we are going to write a Python code by using Cloud AI. So let's wait. All right, so yep, it's done, I think so. Or it is still installing, and I think so we have to restart any kind of session, or no, that's fine. So let's proceed forward, and till then let's copy our API from what we want to do, and we are going to paste our API here, and it is going to be installing our model here. And I think so it will be restarting the session, and again, like yesterday, we have to delete the folder and we have to restart so that the folder can be installed properly. So here you are having the message restart session, and if I'm going to refresh, so I have to delete this because as usual it's not going to be opening, right? And I have to rerun this particular API what we got for our library from the RoboFlow, and it's going to be installing our all the files here. As I told you, that data.yaml file is really important. You have to configure that file, then only your model is going to be trained properly, right? So this file, this model is really small, so it shouldn't take a very long time. We are going to be using nano version. As usual, I told you that YOLO v8n.pt. We are not going to use YOLO v8s.pt, which is small size. If I'm going to refresh, so here you can see we are having our particular folder and everything is fine. We are having all the important files which are required, and it is basically blah blah blah. And we have to change, first of all, double click on data.yaml, and we have to change the locations. So copy path of the testing images, let's paste it here, and after that training images, so let's copy the path and inside the train, and make sure to make a space, right? If you are not having the space after the word, so here you can see I'm having a space in testing and training one, so make sure to have at least a space, otherwise it's going to give you an error. Now everything is fine. Let's save the data.yml file. Let's copy the data.yml files location, replace it here. Let's make the epoch size 25 because today we are having a very less model, but still if we want we can take the epochs to 10 today, just for to make the processes more fast. And let's execute and train our model. So here our model is basically started to train itself, and in the meantime we can actually upload an image which is actually on my desktop, yep, it's fine. Now let me show you that how actually the image looks like. So here you can see that this is actually the image, and we are going to read the text from this image by training the model. All right, so today it's going to be very fast. As usual, we have taken 10 epochs, and the size of the library or the model which we have downloaded from RoboFlow is very less. So it's not going to be taking a very huge amount of time. It's going to take around 4 or 5 minutes to complete 10 epochs. So let's wait. Now this task or this particular first process is by using YOLO version 8. In the meantime, for the second process, we are going to be using easy OCR, which I already told you. So it's really important to work on two different models and check out that what is going to be the efficiency of that particular model. All right, so now the epoch is basically done for the first. Now the second epoch is going to be done. Now the process is going to be fast, right? And by the way, in the meantime, we can discuss about the easy OCR. What is actually that? So here we can go with the easy OCR GitHub community page, and this is having the 22.3k stars, or we can say ratings, right? So easy OCR is also, as I told you, pre-default model which is basically being trained previously. So you don't need to train, you just need to implement this. All right, and it basically supports different kind of languages, right? So you can actually check on that what kind of languages it can see. Now here you can see it is basically displaying us in the Chinese, in the numerical values, as well as in English, as well as in normal characters or single individual alphabets, right? So basically you can see that how easy OCR framework works, that it basically takes the image, it pre-processes, it crafts the images, it does some mid processes, that then it basically use some algorithms. If you don't remember, we have discussed about the LSTM yesterday, right? And then it basically takes the other recognition models inside itself, greedy decoder or greedy algorithm basically it being used, and at the very last we are having post processes, and we are having ultimately the output. All right, so this is actually the step-by-step that how easy OCR framework work. Now it doesn't really matter that if you don't know about ResNet or CTC, or if you don't know about the decoders, doesn't really matter. What really matter is that what information do you know from this graph. If you know at least something, it's good, but if you don't know nothing, it is something you have to study. All right, so that is something which I want to suggest, and apart from that you can go and check on that how you can actually install ECOCR by using pip, right? Or basically you can use like this. So it's not going to be very hard to install the easy OCR. All right, so let's wait for our model, and after that we are going to be using easy OCR. So you can see that epochs are already being done, 5 epochs. So how to download the code from RoboFlow and implement with all companies is write the code like this only using YOLO. Yeah, the majority of the like companies do use YOLO. In last year, like in our university in Korea, we do have implemented by using YOLO version 8, which was actually detecting the garbage, right? So as usual, not only in India but in Korea, if you throw garbage on the street, so you might have to pay fine, right? And there are multiple different colors of garbage. So that means yellow, that polythene is having, we can say liquid garbage, or white polythene is having dry garbage, green having something like food, waste food. So yeah, and that is something really important. So we do have used RoboFlow in order to differentiate between these three different kind of garbage polythenes. And the driver, we basically created a UI application in which the driver can actually see that in which location which garbage is there. All right, so some locations might have more, some locations might have less. So these are actually some company based projects which you can do. Develop an application in which you can recognize the locations and what that location is basically being used for, as I told you, based on your requirements. So that is something, an idea which we got, that why what if we just implement YOLO in order to detect the garbage. So that is something really good. Apart from that, this year we are also doing RoboFlow project with a company in Korea, in which we are detecting the sticker information like from the iron bars, right? So the company is basically manufacturing irons, and of course they have to export these kind of iron bars to their customers to multiple countries. And suppose if there is a detect, or kind of like we can say defect in a piece, so we have to detect that defection in that piece, and then we have to inform to the company. So the CCTV actually detect the defection in that particular iron bar. So that is something really good use cases. You work with companies and you just try to reduce the human effort in certain way, how much as you can, right? So that is something which we can approach for. Now apart from that, you might have some of your own ideas through which you want to implement, so go on with that. Make sure to have like multiple ideas in your mind, because that is something which really is required, right? Of course, the coming of AI, things are going pretty hard. So the epoch is going to be completed, so let's wait. And of course we do have our image, which is this JPG file. We can use some other images to check the efficiency. Of course we have used 10 epochs, not 25 epochs, so the efficiency can be reduced. But the ultimate goal of today is to show you that what is the difference by training the model by yourself and by using a pre-trained model, which is majorly being used for object character recognition. So yeah, your tool mobile app or machine learning app is deployed. So in both manner it is being used, right? So mobile application is again used on some certain framework, C or C++, and it is basically being deployed with a server. We host a website on a server, and then the server actually takes the request and gives us the request. All right, so here we are. The results are saved in runs detect train. So we can basically refresh, we can open the runs, we can go into the detect, and we are having a train, and we have to go into the weights. Once again we are having our best.pt file. Let's copy the path, and at the very last command, if you do remember, we basically just change the content, and we just make sure to take our JPG, right? So let's go to the source, and let's paste it here, and it should save the result somewhere. Like let's see. So make sure to share the live sessions if you want, because this is actually something the people do want. The results are saved in runs detect predict. Once again, if I'm going to refresh, so now we are having a predict folder, and let's open the file and let's see if there are any kind of results. So I think so we have got some results, but that you can see that this is being recognized, right? Text the 0.33 is recognized, center is recognized, DRRD is recognized, but the rest, wall, Bourbon, park, Broadway, sunset, town hall, city hall, this is not recognized, right? So that is something which is really important. So here you can see that yes, the image is having some OCR recognition, but overall maximum of the things, or we can say almost 75 or 80% of the text is not being recognized by the training the model. So once again, epoch size do matter, the number of images do matter, the number of trainings do matter, but still it is something which I wanted to show you. All right, let's say 1 acre I have dumped, the different waste, how it's applied, not clear, please repeat. My question is where the application is deployed to identify the waste. The application is actually deployed in the mobile, right? So the drivers do, that in Korea, drivers do come at night, they pick up the garbage. So they have to check their application. So they don't know that what kind of waste is basically in that location more. So there might be more liquid waste, more dry waste, more food waste. So based on all these informations, they can actually manage their truck in which they have to load the garbage, right? So that is something which is different, we can say, approach. But yeah, let's go with proceed forward with something with the easy OCR. Now I'm going to use Cloud AI. I'm going to simply write a Python code, for easy OCR to recognize the text from the image. Make sure to write the code for Google Colab. Make sure to write the code for Google Colab. So let's see, we are going to be getting the Python code. As usual, I told you that you can write a Python code, but what if we just use the AI, right? So I can basically copy the code from here. Let's paste it here. And what it is actually telling us is that we just need to change the text or the image location. So where we can change. So what we can do is we can enhance also. Do some pre-processing because we want a clear photo, right? Do some pre-processing and enhance the quality of image, and make sure to give the image path in code. So let's go for that. Now here you can see it is basically using OpenCV, right? So here it is basically using some OpenCV. What I can do is let's replace this and let's copy the path of our JPG, and here we are going to be having our image. So I do believe so that it should work, and if there is any kind of error, so we can ask again Cloud AI. So it's basically installing the easy OCR. So if you can see here, so it's basically installing the easy OCR. All right, now there's a pre-default library which we can use. So it's basically going to read a JPG file from here, and then it's going to be implementing it here. So we do have some problem in OpenCV modules, blah, 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 in function CVT color. So, or we can simply create an upload option. Instead of file location, give us the upload option to read the image, right? So let's try with this. Now in this code, you can see that it is basically using Gaussian blur, right, to enhance. And after that, it is also using adaptive threshold by using the OpenCV. So that's good, but let's go again. Now suppose if you are going to be writing the code, it's going to be really long time. So choose files from here. So let's select our JPG. Now it's basically being done, saving to blah blah blah. So let's refresh. So here we are having our file, and you can see that it's basically not recognizing anything. All right, so the ECOCR is by the way, it recognized, sorry, so it recognized here. So you can see that it is basically being selected as Sally, right? it is basically selected as Boardwalk, which is boardwalk, right? Bourbon ST, Sunset Park, Broadway, OOK Staked, Lilson Avenue, DOCR RD, Sector. But overall, you can see that it is unable to do it properly. Some of these spelling mistakes are there. So here, like it's Broadway, but it is giving us Broadlay. All right, so you can see that somewhere we do have the problem with the text. Now, what if I'm going to take a very clear image? So suppose if I take this image and I save this image to the desktop, and let's upload this and let's see if the Easy OCR can recognize this one. So let's rerun the program. Oh, by the way, why I have uploaded, like I can also like upload directly from the code, right? So it doesn't really matter. So once again, if I choose file, if I choose this particular thing, so here you can see that maximum call stack size is basically being exceeded. That means the file size is kind of like high. All right, so let's take some other image. What if we can go with this one? Do not enter wrong way. Save image as in the desktop. Let's go back. Let's refresh. Let's go choosing files. This was the one. So 100% done. So here you can see that this is something which is being recognized. So if I open the image in the meantime, so this is actually the image, but you can see that what it's written and what here it's written, it's totally different. So here you can see recognize text, do nudge, right? It's not written do not, it's written do nudge. And after that for enter, it's writing ENB, which is actually wrong. After that for wrong, it is writing, but again, there is a problem in the text. And for the way, I think so it's fine, right? So the image for the easy OCR, we have to go with the more pre-processing, right? What I can do is I can basically tell to the cloud, now this code is running really fine. What I want to tell to the cloud is, let's copy the code and give the code here and tell to cloud, make sure to implement or enhance, make sure to enhance the image or upscale the image and then use the OCR. Okay, so let's try. Like, of course, you have to do some multiple pre-processing, and let's see if it can increase the efficiency of what we are doing. All right, so let's try this one. Copy the code. Let's go here, paste it. Let's rerun. So let's see if it can work more efficiently. Upscaling is a very great technique, right? Pre-processing is something you can take threshold, but upscaling is something which is really great because it can basically increase the efficiency. So here you can see again, basically the size has been increased a lot. So what I can do is I can take the default image, the previous one, if we can take the small size one. Identify the object in image. Do we want to connect camera? So yeah, you can actually connect your camera by using OpenCV, right? So you can actually do that as well. So here you can see it is basically creating some kind of error. So let's copy the error and ask to Cloud AI, and it should give us the response based on that. So there's a kind of like version of CV, OpenCV, which we are using wrong. All right, so we have to install a new OpenCV. So before that code, let's go and install a new OpenCV. Please show us how to identify the different waste particle using Cloud AI, and let's show how to execute more interesting concept. Restart session. So let's wait. See, more interesting concept is something which really takes time, right? Because that is actually not ultimately the task of today's webinar, that you have to recognize particles. Now, in the case of particles, which are actually very, very minors, for the objects, it's fine. But for the particles, is something totally a different case. Let's copy the code. For the particles, you must have a CCTV or a very great camera having a zoom quality, and then only it can be able to detect the particles, or you can actually go with the IoT platforms, right? So that is something, yes, you can do. Now let's try if the issue is resolved, and it should give us the upload file from here. So let's select this one. Okay, so it has been saved. So your session has been crashed, so no problem. So again, we are having this one, but there are no text which are being recognized because it was being crashed. So let's rerun, delete the file. Now this is a really big problem. Like, suppose if you're working, a session can be crashed and it can create a problem for you because you're working on a code. So let's take this one. So again, you can see your session has been crashed, right? Now this is actually happening because we are using a latest mode of OpenCV, right? I do think so. Let's go with the default. Instead of loading, make the code for giving the file path from Google Colab. By the way, Cloud AI is having a limitation that you cannot write more than some certain amount of code, right? So let's copy this. Now, just I wanted to show you that what is the difference in training your own model and using easy OCR or Tesseract, or you're having paddle OCR, if I'm not wrong, right? So we are having different OCR pre-trained models. So again, the system is being crashed. I do think so that there is a problem which is going on. What if I go with the CPU, and I think so everything is going to be deleted? Yeah, of course it's going to be deleted. So what I can do is I can simply copy the code, and let's go and connect to the CPU, because as usual there might be a problem. So let's upload our image, this one. So now it's connected. Let's rerun the program. If you're going to be using CPU, it's going to be taking some time, right? So from Torch, easy OCR, so it's going to take some kind of time, and yeah, let's see. Show for only for the object direction. Anyhow, Cloud AI is writing code. So yep, so yesterday we do have done object detection, right? So yesterday for the fire, we do have done object detection. If you have missed, so you can actually check on that. So we have done the object detection without even using the cloud AI. For the object detection, you can also use OpenCV, right? Like right now I'm using Easy OCR. So instead you can just use OpenCV for object detection. That is also really well. You can use YOLO, we have already discussed. There are multiple object detection libraries you can go with. And here we are. Now I think so it's much more better, but still the responses are not really well. So if I show you, then park is mentioned, that's fine. Broadly is going to be, again, it was Broadway, right? Oakstead, it is kind of like wrong because it is street and here it's written stead. Kind of like good, but still the efficiency is basically something we have to increase. So again, I'm going to be asked upscale the image in pre-processing. I do remember there was one more kind of thing which I really forget right now. I'm not getting that. What was that? Upscale the image and pre-processing. And by the way, we can go with the deskewing the images. That is something which you can do. Deskewing, right? So it basically rotates your image in such a manner that if the character is unable to recognize, so that's fine. Super resolution. So once again, if I go here, restart. So the more upscale you make the image, so you can see that convert the image. Now this is something which we are getting error. So upscaling do make some problems. So here you can see that there is a problem with the super resolution module, right? So upscaling as usual do make some problems. So if you're using PyCharm, so it's fine, but if you're using CPU, so it might create problem. All right, so now we might be having some better things. Again, you can see center is written fine, city hall, town hall is written fine, it's written wrong, park is written fine, Bourbon Street is written fine, sunset is basically being written some cell. So yeah, Sally is basically being written fine, it's just wrong, right? Boardwalk is basically again written wrong. So yeah, you can see that some of the things are basically being recognized properly. What I can try is I can try this image, which is more clear, right? So if I go and click on this, which is school bus one, let's copy the path from here and let's try to execute this particular file and let's see if we can detect a proper character inside this image. Yes, we can do face recognition by using YOLO. So, yep, actually you can search on RoboFlow for face detection or not face recognition, but face detection can be done. Face recognition means that you are actually trying to recognize for only a single person, that can be famous person, but face detection means that in a photo you can detect multiple faces. So here you can see that this is being that not fully proper. Bus is fine, stop is fine. Instead of H, it is basically X, and after that the P is basically taken from here. So let's take some other image which is clearer. Let's take this one, stop ahead. I think so this one should be detected by the OCR, right? So let's go here, save this image. Let's go and upload this image. So I do think so this one. So it's in WEBP format. So what I can do is I can change it to JPG, right? So once it's done, copy path, and this should work now. And of course now I cannot use RoboFlow model because all the files has been deleted from here because we have changed our GPU to CPU, right? So I cannot use that model again. But let's open this particular file, Now let's see if it can recognize what it's written or no. So yeah, now you can see it's basically working fine. So here you can see that stop ahead. All right, so this is the recognized text. So depends on the image, depends on the quality of image, you have to upscale the image. So before this implementing OCR, make sure to write some upscaling the image, right? So suppose if I go here, let's try to take any kind of, I think so this one was the blurry image, but this image is really small. So I want an image which is blurry but not small, right? So what we can do is, let's try with this. Now here you can see that the signboards are not in a straight angle, right? And let's see if the easy OCR can detect the characters in a different angle. That is also something which is really important in the field of ML. So this one, yep, larger.jpg. And let's see if it can try to detect what's written on different angle. So I can paste the here. Let's close this JPG and let's run the code. So here you can see that it is basically unable to, now here you can see that MLD, MSE, now it's not making it clearer, right? So it's not making it the image as clearer. So that is something you have to do some pre-processing. That means you have to create a model or a program which can make your photo straight, not on a different angle. Now that basically requires time, multiple of pre-processing steps, multiple of errors. So yeah, that is actually something you can go and try on. But these tasks actually gives you an idea that how we can implement this kind of project. So suppose if you are given a task to use OCR or easy OCR in order to detect what's written on this image. So it's a really good project, right? So this actually requires some of the challenges you have to overcome. You have to make sure to make it black and white, then Gaussian blur or different kind of filters you have to implement. And at the very last, when the everything is being done, so you are going to be having the answer. By the way, you can also use RoboFlow in order to train your model in such a way that it can recognize the characters inside an image. All right, so I do think so that that's it for today. We are not going to be making this webinar long because that was today's task, to work on two different models by using easy OCR or by training the model. All right, so meet you guys next week, and if you do have any questions, so make sure to send email to the education diary. If you want to gather some certifications in IT, that can be in AI or big data or cyber security, so you can actually contact the education diary and you can get your certifications in those particular fields. So till then, take care guys, and see you next week.